Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Meet Davidson Ambrose. Davidson introduced himself to... And I know what you're thinking. She's gone mad. She's already made this video. We know what you're going to say. Davidson Ambrose introduced himself to Celia. Wrong. At the end of the last video, that man was very rude to Celia. She didn't want anything else to do with him. So, let's start again. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Davidson Ambrose. Davidson introduced himself to Denise. This was 3 months after he'd introduced himself to Celia. "Hello, beautiful," he said. "It's nice to meet you."
"Hello," she said. "It's nice to meet you too."
"My name is David," he said. "I'm from London, but I'm currently in Sicily, Italy, working on a contract. But you knew all that, didn't you? I work as a rig engineer. How about you, beautiful?"
"I live in Guildford," she said. "I'm retired. I used to be a school dinner lady."
"Wow," he said. "That's very lovely, my dear." "I have been working as a rig engineer for 28 years now," he said. "And by the way, you look very beautiful."
"What does a rig engineer do?" she asked. "My Albie was a bin man. We didn't meet clever people like you."
"You can also call it a drilling engineer," he said.
"So, what do you actually do?" she asked.
A man took to... Yes, other search engines are available. You thought you knew what I was going to say. A man took to Bing and came back and said, "As a drilling engineer, I'll plan, develop and supervise the operations necessary for drilling oil and gas wells. I'll be involved from the initial well design to testing, completion and abandonment, and we will have a responsibility for costing. In this role, I can work on land, on offshore platforms, or on mobile drilling units, employed either by the operating oil company, a specialist drilling contractor, or a service company."
"Sounds complicated,"
said Denise, who's yet to learn how to use a search engine. Bing continued, "I work with other professionals, such as geologists and geoscientists, to monitor drilling progress, oversee safety management, and ensure the protection of the environment."
"So which of those things did you do today?" she asked.
"Yeah, it's my dear, and believe me, it ain't easy," he said. "I'm currently in offshore right now."
"You mean you're on an oil rig?" she asked.
"Yes, my dear," he said. "I'm currently working for a private company."
"Aren't all oil rigs run by private companies?" she asked.
"I signed a contract of 2 years with them, and I've been here in the middle of the sea for 2 years now. Well, most of them. I don't think it's all." Well, he should know. He's been working on them for 28 years. I wouldn't have a clue. Apparently neither does Denise.
"Oh my goodness," she said. "I don't think I'd want to be at sea for 2 years.
If you saw the last video, I'll bet you've guessed what's coming next. "It's so terrible and dangerous here, my dear," he said, cross-posting with Denise, who said,
"I just read your job description. What does a geoscientist do?"
"Because of the pirates here," he said.
"Pirates? Oh no, that sounds really dangerous," said Denise. "I don't even know what a pirate is these days. What do they do?"
Our man hopped back on Bing to find out what geoscientists do. "Geoscientists," he said, "are often involved in the discovery and development of commercially viable and exploitable reserves of natural resources, such as oil, gas, minerals and water."
"That sounds complicated too, darling," said Denise.
"Yes, pirates. They're very dangerous here," he said. "They come to kidnap foreigners here and sometimes steal our equipment for working."
"Oh no, how frightening," said Denise. "Have they stolen your stuff?"
"All in search of golds and women," he said.
"How do they get onto the rig?" she asked.
"I just can really wait to finish my contract here so I can leave here as soon as possible. I'm really scared of them. Yes, they have, and I've lost a few colleagues to them."
"Did you say you were finishing soon?" asked Denise. "Oh, I'm so sorry. Why do you work in such a dangerous place?"
"Without hearing from them. Pirates are always in the sea. It's like their home, and we live in the middle of the sea," he said. I think he might have been watching a bit too much Captain Pugwash. Viewers of a certain age will know who I mean. And yes, I'm fully aware that there are very serious and dangerous pirates at sea these days. He told Denise he was planning to retire when he left the rig.
"What are you going to do when you retire?" she asked.
I love the sea a lot, you know, the views, the sun and nature. It's love. But here it's different. Well, my dear, I plan to move out from London and move to another country with my son and start a new life there. And also going to investment.
"Oh," she said, "you live in London? Which country do you want to move to?"
Yes, my dear, he said. I grew up there. Well, I actually plan on moving to China, or perhaps move to some place better.
"Where were you in London when you were growing up?" she asked.
Perhaps Guildford isn't such a bad idea, he said.
"It isn't anything like China," she said. "I haven't been to China, so I don't really know what it's like there. Which part of London did you grow up in?"
OK, folk, it's time for a question. Which part of London did he grow up in? And if you watched the previous video, you might guess the answer. Well, he said, I grew up in Bradford.
"Oh, I thought you said you grew up in London,"
said Denise. And here comes the first part of that all-important scammer sob story. I grew up with my uncle and his wife, who died of cancer when I was just 18 years old.
"That's sad," she said. "But I thought you said you grew up in London. You're confusing me. I'm 76, darling."
Yeah, I mean Bedford. It's an error in my typing.
"That's not in London, is it, darling?"
Yeah, I live a hard life while growing up, but I'm proud of who I am today. My parents were Spanish, he said, completely irrelevantly. Denise asked him how old he was, and he said 56, and then continued with the sob story. I have a son, and he's the only family I have left. I lost my wife 3 years ago in a car accident.
"I'm so sorry, darling," said Denise. "That must have been really hard for you. What does your son do?"
My son lives with a nanny, he said.
"You left your son with a nanny after his mother was killed?"
said Denise. I really admire you a lot, he said. You look so lovely.
"That's not a nice thing to do, is it?" she said. "Why are you on an oil rig? How old is your son?"
It's been very hard, but I've made it through, he said. Denise had to go and make a nice cup of tea to get over the shock. When she came back, he said, Yes, my dear, I have already made plans for everything. How was the tea? Hope you enjoyed it.
"That's good," she said. "It upsets me to think of your poor motherless boy being away from his dad."
I'm never going to leave him again, he said.
"I couldn't have done that to my kids or my grandkids," she said.
I understand the way you feel, but believe me, I feel it most, he said. That evening, Denise disappeared for a while our man went into full-on scammer mode. What are you doing at the moment? He asked.
"Sorry," she said. "I went and had to shower."
It's okay, he said, followed by, all together now. So, have you had dinner yet?
"Dinner?" she said. "I just told you I've been for a shower. I'm getting ready for bed. Have you had dinner?"
Oh, I see, he said. Yes, I already had dinner not too long ago. You should get some rest. I bet you have a long day ahead of you tomorrow. Apart from those pesky pirates, it seems that life on the oil rig is hard for our man. He asked Denise what she was doing for tomorrow. He said it seems you've already made your plans for tomorrow.
"What will you do?" she asked. "I'm guessing oil rigs work 24/7.
Yes, my dear, he said. I'm always busy with work here every day. I go for work by 7 a.m. in the morning and then get off work at 7 p.m. at night. But I'll always do my best to find time to talk to you, because I really like you a lot and I love to know more about you."
"My goodness," said Denise. "Do you have to work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week?"
I work every day, he said. Otherwise the board of directors would be very mad at me.
"What are you actually doing for your contract?" she asked.
Sometimes I'm exhausted when I get off work, he said. I make sure everyone is doing his task, and sometimes go under the sea and fix some of the things that are needed there, or show my colleagues what to do.
"Oh," she said, "you're a diver. That sounds difficult."
For you to be a rig engineer, first you must be good at swimming,
and lasting long underwater. Oh, you mean you go free diving rather than using an oxygen tank? She asked.
My job is not easy, he said, but I try to do my best just to be safe. Sometimes I use an oxygen tank, sometimes I don't.
How deep can you dive without a tank? She asked.
Well, I really don't know to say about that, but I can spend up to 30 minutes underwater without an oxygen tank. I guess you're already asleep. I wish you a lovely night and sweet dreams.
Oh, my word, said Denise the next morning. Does the Guinness Book of Records know about you? The longest recorded time for a free diver is 24 minutes. You must be super fit. That's amazing, darling. I bought the Guinness Book of Records for Benji and Freddie for Christmas.
Oh, no, they don't, he said proudly. Only my colleagues here at work knows about it.
Have you been keeping safe? She asked him a bit later. Did you say you had pirates?
Yes, I've been doing everything I can to be safe from the pirates, he said. I just can't wait to finish my contract here on time so I can go back home. The pirates here aren't something to play with here at sea. They don't care who dies or who is involved. All they want is gold or money.
How do they get onto the rig? She asked. Sounds really frightening.
The sea is their home, he said. They attack us here unaware by climbing into the rig. It's really terrible, darling. I'm scared myself. Please, always put me on your prayers when you pray, he asked. I really can't wait to leave here soon.
I will, darling, she said. It sounds so frightening.
Thank you, dear. You're so sweet. What are you doing at the moment?
I'm reading your message, darling. What are you doing?
I just closed from work now, and I'm getting ready to take a shower and have something to eat for dinner. Followed by, and you're getting good at this, aren't you? Yes. Have you had dinner yet? A charming man decided to turn on, well, the charm. You're so beautiful, charming, kind, and you're a caring woman. You're all a man would ever wish to have by his side. All I care about now is for you to be happy, and I want to be the man that would put a smile on your face. You're an angel on earth. Your beauty is beyond human imagination.
Oh, what a lovely man you are, said Denise. You sound like my Albie. He said the loveliest things sometimes.
I'm so glad I met you, he said, and you're a part of life now.
Do you know what? Said Denise, leading him on. It would be lovely to meet you. Do you get any holiday to go travelling, or do you spend it all with your son?
It would be such a great honour to meet a beautiful lady like you, he said. I can only leave here when I'm done with my contract. I don't know if the board of directors will allow me for a holiday, but I'll see if I can talk to them. I bet you're getting good at this too. Do you think they'll allow him a holiday?
Do you have to stay on the oil rig without a holiday? She asked. That doesn't seem fair. My Albie always had holiday with his job.
Even if the board of directors allow me, I have a feeling it's not going to be easy, he said. It's going to cost me a lot, and I'm not paid yet for my contract. Well, there's a surprise. I wouldn't have thought of that. What's your favourite place in the world? He asked.
I don't know. I haven't been to many places, she said. We went to Spain a couple of times when the kids were little.
I love Spain a lot. Everything about, he said. And if you've watched the previous video, you know his favourite places. My favourite place in the world is the Pyramid of Egypt and Spain. My next interest is in Dubai.
I'd love to go to Egypt, said Denise.
Perhaps we could both spend the holiday over there, he said.
Oh, do you think we could? She asked.
Yes, we can, darling. I just need to talk to the board of directors at first, he said. They could give me 2 weeks' holiday if I calmly speak with them. Keeping up the charm offensive, he continued. I'm already falling in love with you already, and I really want to spend the rest of my life with you. Darling, like I said, we have to join our heads together so we can make it possible. Okay, darling, I'll talk to the board of directors. Whatever they say, I'll let you know. I wish I was there with you right now. I could have held you close in my lovely arms and never let you go again. A bit more talk later, and he suggested that they move to hangouts.
over on hangouts, our man, or maybe his mate, who works hangouts, went back into full-on scammer mode. "What are you doing at the moment?" he asked. "I'm sitting down with a nice cold drink," said Denise. "It's hot here again." "Oh, that's nice, darling," he said. "What are you drinking?" "A sparkling orange drink," she said. "Sounds lovely, honey. Can you send me a picture?" "A picture of what, darling?" she asked. "Of the sparkling orange drink, honey," he said. I was tempted to send him a photo of the tin, because I really was drinking a sparkling orange drink. But we all know that Denise doesn't know how to send photos. "Don't you know what a sparkling orange drink looks like, darling?" she asked. "And send me a picture too. I really miss you so much. I want to be my darling beautiful face that always makes me smile." "If you send me your address, I can post some to you," said Denise. "Not really, honey. It's been a very long time since I had some fruit juice," he said. "It's going to be difficult for anything to come through here in the middle of the sea. Can't postmen swim?" "Oh," she said, "can't you get post?" "I'm not very sure of that," he said. "There's no one here in the middle of the except just colleagues I work with, unless you're using a helicopter to send it, LOL. Give me your address and I'll post some to you. Then you'll know if post can get to you, darling." "I don't know if I can," he said. "I even plan on sending you flowers. Do you like flowers, honey?" They discussed favourite flowers, and he mentioned sunflowers. "Yes, they're lovely, darling," he said. "Sunflowers are the key to heart." "You're the keys to heart, and you make me feel so much love. I love you so much, darling. I really can't wait for us to be together soon and spend the rest of our lives together." "Oh my, you do say the nicest things, darling. Are you asking me to marry you?" "All I ever want is for you to be happy always," he replied, "and I want to be the only man in your life. If that's what it takes for us to be together, then I'm a lucky man because of you. You're a blessing to my life." "Oh," she said, "you aren't asking me to marry you." "Yes, honey, of course I'm asking you to marry me," he said. "You're the woman I want to spend the rest of my life with." "Oh, my word," said Denise. "It would be so lovely to have a kind, caring man again. But I don't think I can say yes until I've met you. You must come to Guildford, darling." "And I'm so happy I met beautiful and charming lady like you," he said. "Of course I'll come to Guildford to meet you, honey." "Oh, that would be so lovely," she said. "I could show you round and take you up to London." "I want to propose to you when I meet you," he said. "That would be very lovely, my sweetheart." "Darling, about the holiday or vacation we talked about?" "What, darling?" she asked. "I have spoken with one of the junior board of directors. He told me it's possible for me to come meet leave here and come meet you," he said. "Oh, what good news, darling," said Denise. "Yes, darling, it is," he said. "He said, all we need to do is to apply for my leave approve." "Of course," she said. "Most people can't take holiday until they tell their boss first. You can't just walk out of your job, can you, darling?" "Yes, darling," he said, "but you have to be the one writing to them." "Why do I have to ask for your holiday?" she said. "My Albie always had to ask for his own." "Honey, this is what the junior board have told me," he said. "All you need to do is to write a letter to the board of directors' email and tell them how important you want me to come home." "I'm not good with email, darling," she said. "You'll have to tell me what to do." And so he came up with this letter. "Dear Board of Directors, my name is blank. I'm the wife of Mr. Davidson Ambrose, and I live in Guildford. I'm writing to ask you to help my husband, David Ambrose, to come home. Since my husband started his contract, I have missed him very much, and also, since I started to live with my children, our son is not feeling well. Please help me with this crucial issue. We are very worried about what is going on in Sicily, Italy, and we hope he can help me live with the kids.
I'm writing to the board of directors, asking for a leave of absence for my husband, and I'm eagerly awaiting your quick response. Thank you very much." "Honey," he said, "this is how you're going to write the letter to the board of directors. You're writing to them as my wife. Read it, and see if there's anything you can add to it, sweetheart."
"What do I put in that box where it says subject?" she asked.
"Honey, you can put a letter of emergency to the board of directors, so they would know how important and serious this is for us."
"I can't tell all those lies, darling," she said. "That's not right, is it? I'm not your wife, and I've never met your son. If he's not well, then you need to ask his nanny to phone the doctor. Why can't I tell them the truth, darling, that we want to get married?"
"I thought it would be more better this way," he said, "so they would see a reason to help us. But if that's what you want, honey, then it's okay."
"I was brought up not to tell lies, darling," she said. "I thought you were an honourable man."
"Yes, I am. It's just that I'm scared," he said, "and I want to leave here as soon as possible to come meet you and spend the rest of my life with you."
"Why don't I just tell them we want to get married as soon as possible, and that your son needs to come to England so he can look at schools before they start the autumn term?" she asked.
"Oh my gosh, honey, you're so sweet," he said. "Yes, this is perfect, honey." And so she wrote to the board of directors of ENI, Oil and Gas, who apparently use a Gmail address. While Denise was waiting, they made small talk about buying a house with a pool and buying a car, the usual sort of thing. And then Denise received this very professional email. It said, "Madam, if Davidson Ambrose must leave, he must be replaced with another engineer worker. If he must return home, there must be a replacement of his position. You will be responsible for the expenses of the engineering officers who is going to replace him. More so, I am going to make consultation on which country we have a senior engineering worker who can make the replacement as soon as possible to enable him return home fast. As you know, we have our workers in different locations all over the world on different branch of our company. As soon as I'm making consultation, I will get back to you. I am going to try my best to help you. Stay and remain blessed. My regards to the family." Denise replied. The UK was having a heat wave. Denise was feeling overcome by the heat, and I was feeling facetious.
"Hello, Mr/Mrs, whoever you are," she said. "Please let me know as soon as possible. I'm so desperate for Davidson to come here. I'm 76, I might not last much longer. I need him."
While Denise was waiting for an answer, they got to talking about that old scammer favourite, food. "I'm now at my lunch break," he said. "Now ready to go eat something for lunch."
"OK," said Denise. "What are you having for lunch? What's the food like on an oil rig? I hope you get enough fresh fruit and vegetables. You need a balanced diet. I always made sure my Albie had his fruit and veg. He liked a big breakfast because it was hard work on the bins, so I always made sure he had a big glass of fruit juice with his breakfast."
"Honey," he said, "I'm having seafood for lunch."
"That sounds delicious," said Denise.
"We're mostly used to eating seafood here for lunch," he said. "It's what we have here, and I haven't had a good meal in a while. I miss homemade meals," he said.
"Isn't the food any good on the rig?" said Denise. "They need to hire a proper cook who knows what they're doing."
"No balanced diet here," he said. "Not even a fruit drink."
"That's terrible," said Denise. "How many people are there on your rig? You mean you haven't had a decent meal for 2 years? You really do need to get off the rig, don't you?"
"Yes, honey," he said. "For 2 years now. It's been seafood that has been keeping us alive."
"Why can't they get proper food for you?" she asked.
"That's why I want to leave here as soon as possible, to come meet you, so you can prepare delicious meals for me," he said.
"Do you have to catch your own seafood?" she asked.
"Yes, honey," he replied. "We have to catch it by ourselves."
"How do you catch your own seafood on an oil rig?" asked Denise.
"Honey," he said, "it's very easy to do, darling. Sometimes we go into the water to catch them. or sometimes using a fishing net or a hook. So now you know. And you thought they had cooks on oil rigs. I think I said in the previous video, I could just picture him dangling his fishing line over the edge of an oil rig. Little did I know. And then Denise got a reply to her email. It said, "Hello, madam. From the consultations so far about the engineer that is going to replace him, I have been able to get 4 different locations, which is as follows. USA, $2,000 US. Thailand, $4,500 US. China, $6,200 US. Turkey, $5,400 US. Because, as you know, a lot of engineers knows about the security risk and hard work over there in the ship company, and they are afraid. But I was able to get engineers from the above locations. As soon as you make the payment, I will order him out from the ship without any delay. Kindly choose one of the above options of your choice, so I can communicate with the engineer immediately to come to take over from him." Denise didn't feel like spending $2,000 so that our man could have a holiday. I guess he'll just have to stay on his oil rig then, won't he, eating seafood. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please like it, please share it, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again in another Keep Safe on the Net video on YouTube.